This is Josiah Plays Sunless Skies. And now my journal has been fixed. So let's see what happens if we talk to the researcher again real quick about his project. Is he just going to give us more fucking pamphlets? Are you serious? Okay. It never changes. Just like war. But no, we've got Perdurance. Wherever Perdurance is. We haven't even heard about Perdurance yet. There was no sign of it in London. Baroness of Hell and the Well of the Wolf. Hey, son, how you doing? Also Perdurance. I'm not going to bring the research or anything else. The Graveyard and Eagles Empyrean. London Steam and Sapphire Yards. I don't care about delivering any more stuff. Yeah, we can't do any of those right at the moment. Bleak Industrialist. I think we can do anything with that at the moment. Whitewell, no. No. I don't understand why this isn't cleared as complete, because I completed it. I got the achievement and everything. I'm not going to deliver any cinders. Or any pamphlets. But this we can do. I don't know where the Most Serene Mausoleum is. This we can do. Wit and vinegar, a smuggler's tale. Smugglers ply their secret trade in the sky. A lucrative, if perilous, trade. Visit the Midnight Rose at Titania to learn why there have been no deliveries from them recently. Hey, what's up, son? How you doing? What did you watch tonight? We watched an episode of The Prisoner. Found out all about not being a number. And I worked on a character sheet in a character sheet designer program for a while. And now we're on to Sunless Skies. So we're going to go to Titania. Is what we're going to do. Fortunately, Titania is just around the corner of sorts. And I found 5 invisible cows, that's right. Fucking wind. There's always the damn wind. It is the delicious growth wind. Look, my supplies are actually going up. The windiest of wind. Don't even think about it, bees. What I'm doing over here, none of your business. Bees fighting a marauder. I ain't got time for it. Ask me if I got time for it. Oh no. Well, this is gonna go well. Threaded the needle. I don't. No. No, I sure don't. Fine, I'll collect the wings. We had a beatle. Juked him. Juked? Made it back. Okay, we can go to the Midnight Rose, which we've never been to before because it was never available to us before because we hadn't been to London and learned about it. So it's cool that they tell you about new things at the old locations and you can go back and discover new things at the old locations. The Midnight Rose. Is it my imagination or is the hustle and buzz still under this area? Oh, Nox. Is the game music, like, extra loud or not? Excuse my yawning. The Midnight Rose are a close-knit coterie that produce precise vintages of red honey. If you want to taste the bleak memories of an orphan or the excesses of a reckless libertine, they are able to provide. Their leader is an ethereal apiarist, whose laced gowns are stained at the hem with grass and soil. Bees crawl lazily in her wild hair. Accompany her as she works in the glass house. She is disarmingly frank. The red honey trade seems to be something of an open secret in Titania, the other side of the port's coin. Rose bushes heap against the glass and climb in thorny tangles through the greenhouse. Among them are tall cages, each occupied by a prisoner. Bees buzz into and out of their ears and sip from the corners of their eyes. The prisoners cry out and sob and plead. Look closer, the apiarist says. Around each of their necks hangs a key on a chain. They can free themselves at any time, but choose not to. They are artists, you see. They believe they must suffer if they are to one day make great art. It's bollocks, isn't it? Compliment her appalling ingenuity. That's bollocks, isn't it? Art no more relies on misery than plumbing relies on ennui. She has the dignity to look awkward. Yes, well, they are romantics. Perhaps telling themselves this lie will give them the confidence to make something remarkable. Think of it as a placebo. The medicine was only water and sugar, but the patient still recovered. The Midnight Rose, we've read this. Alright, I'm gonna say nothing. You finish your tour watching the bees hurry from cage to rose to the hives that stand at one end of the glass house, red as berries. Let's ask why the export of honey to London has slowed. The apiarist sighs. A problem. The revenue man, she says, darkly. They have appointed a new captain to patrol the skies nearby. He used to be one of the gentlemen, the smugglers who operate out of Pan. and he knows a lot of the tricks. Inconvenient. You'll need to find a way to circumvent this canny captain. Siphon some funds toward creating a front for their contraband. You must be at least 50% of the way towards funding a project at Titania to do this. I can hand over an unlicensed chart. I have 6 of them. There are paths through the clogging undergrowth of the Reach that even this once smuggler turned revenue man won't know. Secret ways. You and the apiarists spend a coffee-fueled night combing your chart, plotting new hidden routes for their couriers to use. The way will be dangerous. You have had to favor circuitous, little-used paths plagued by the candle wind, but a dreadnought would never be able to traverse them. The ethereal apiarist is pleased. The gloomy middleman probably won't be, but he might be slightly less miserable. You better deliver the good news to him. Return to the gloomy middleman at London to complete his task and become a smuggler. I'm ready to smuggle. Now, the other thing we could do while we are here, not that. The other thing, could I do an art exhibition? Yeah. Do some terror. The other thing we could do is this thing with the new start with the mayor. But I can advocate for Albion or either style. The Eleutherian aesthetic sounds more fun. So, I can't do that style until I've actually been there. So I'm going to hold off on that decision. And now I shall return to Albion. I'll be on my way. Motherfuckers. Come on, bees. You're acting the fool. You're just embarrassing yourself now. I got my new train. The Shepherd's Twilight. Hey, I just leveled up. 56% chance? Fuck it! A discovery. Your driver holds your locomotive steady alongside the wreck as your crew take turns at the pry bar. Eventually, the bay doors are sufficiently parted to permit the spryest of you to squeeze through. Soon they return. And what's this they have found? What could it be? A slim clasped box. The silver clasp gleams in your torchlight. The chorister's prize. Inside, the box is unhappily sticky. The cause is a resinous block of nectar that sits in the box's center like nougat at the heart of a piece of chocolate. Produced by the gargantuan flowers of the Reach, this nectar is zealously sought by the giant, hymnal chorister bees who haunt its skies. Space nougat. Level up. You know, strictly speaking, I don't have to spend my points yet, but I do want to. Alright, in the blockade of New Winchester, you fought in the greatest battle of the Winchester War, when the regional governor, appointed by Her Majesty, was driven from the Reach. The independent Tacketies besieged the port. The loyalist stovepipes hoped to hold out until reinforcements led by the Imperial dreadnought Her Majesty's Displeasure could arrive. Which side did you fight on? The Tacketies, of course. You were part of the blockade, hunting for engines trying to supply the defenders, and scouting for the inevitable reinforcements from London. These are both up to 33 now, not quite as disastrously low as before. Oh look, we're going to be passing right by the Memorial of the Unknown Rats. Rats. What are you doing? You fucking fool's errand? Why would you crash into me like that? Gloopy gloppy honey sounds. Gloopy gloppy. Drinking some cola. Oh. Oh, those bees are on a mission. Now my crew are a little less rattled. Feeling pretty tired. Surprisingly tired. Sleepy snake. Yeah. Alright, do I want to do anything in Port Prosper? Yeah, I'll take tea and get some terror reduction. Oh, I might not get terror reduction. I'm gonna sneak tea cakes for the porters. I think I get Savage Secrets for this. Oh my god! 12 crates of crockery? That is so much free shit they give you here between the crockery and the literature and shit. I'm not going to do settlers or any of these other things. Let's roll on. Back to Albion we go. The Albionic Woman. Alright. Customs schmustums. Nothing to declare. I don't have a quartermaster yet. No, I haven't found one, Hell's Remorses. How you doing? First class. Takes a permit. I can't even do second class. Oh, you need 2 barrels of hours. Oh, I get terror reduction when I use a permit. That's nice. Okay, we've read this before. The only area that I've fully explored on the map is the Reach. I've barely even done anything in Albion yet, and I haven't even been to the other 2 areas yet. But I've already got everything I need to complete my ambition, which is kind of crazy. It says don't let terror reach 100. Just don't! I basically haven't done anything in Albion yet. I mean, I've got to London, but then I went back to get a different train and do a couple things in the Reach. See, this is basically untouched. Got level 20. Oh, congratulations. I'm only 16. Is 20 the cap, or does he get more levels after that? '20's cap. That's unfortunate. Legacy fastest for completion offers same skill plus 5 plus 3. What do you mean same skill? The searching lights of watchtowers away in the night. Alright, we haven't done all the stuff at St. Dominic's yet. London sprawls across the heavens. Its tea shops and factories, its gardens and orphanages, its ministries and gin houses. Like them some gin. We found the patient princess. Dreadnoughts rumble through the London sky, watchful as sheepdogs. Well, it's a trade-off. I mean, you're supposed to pick what you want to invest in. You're not supposed to be able to get really high in all of them. Just like most games. Alright, what am I doing here? We've got some prospects available. I'll take these prospects. The astronomers at Nell's Tower are struggling to keep up with their increased workload. The Ministry has them at their great telescope every hour of the day. More time would be greatly appreciated. 3 barrels of unseasoned hours are requested. Royal Society lies a long way to the east-southeast of London. Fulminous festivities. In Sunless Sea, there was a way to grind 1 skill increase at a time with a quest. Oh, infinitely? I don't remember that. I certainly never did it. Fireworks for Parliament. A zealous undersecretary is already planning next year's Guy Fawkes Night, a vital celebration of parliamentary democracy and high explosives. He wants the festivities fireworks to be seen and heard all the way in London, and is prepared to pay well for 3 carefully packed crates of sufficiently dangerous munitions. Floating Parliament lies a long way to the west of London, so we've got no. We've got Bronzewood for Floating Parliament, and munitions for Floating Parliament, literature for Clockwork Sun, and hours for Royal Society. Let me get my notepad back out here. I don't need to write any notes about this, but I'm gonna need to write notes soon, probably. Alright, so we got those things. Let's put all this crockery and nectar in the bank. And alright, do I want to buy any parts for my train now? I think I do. I want this assaying device. I want it. I'm taking it. Now, the bad news is I have to use up an auxiliary slot for that, so I'm going to lose 5 hold. But now I can assay. I have a couple bridge slots that aren't being used. What about the comparison of this big gun with my big gun? It's not the Black Jape, right? No, it's the Jubilee. 15 damage, 1060. Light homing ability. Well, it's more damage, but it's also a lot more heat. It's also very expensive. For now, I'll stick with the Albertine Candle, and then maybe later I'll get the Jubilee. Ratty Baggage Handlers, 11 hold, but it takes an auxiliary slot. Fitted Cupboards, oh, I don't have 50 iron. Fuck my life. What else do they have for bridge slot? Fitted cupboards, sensible plumbing, which I don't give a shit about having more crew. I want me some fitted cupboards. I need to get my iron up. My iron is 33. I could get 6 points of iron from this guy. And 4 more. I could get like 10 more iron. I could could get 10 more iron by switching my officers, but I don't really want to, especially since that won't get me there. So I guess I'm not buying any parts for my train right now, other than the speciometer that I just bought. I think I'll sell that cargo bay, though. No, I'm not going to sell it. I'll put it in the bank. Alright, so let's look around in London some more. We've done some commerce. I just spent all my money. I had a lot more money than this, but I just bought this train for 19,500. Okay, we're done with the shops. Now, back to exploring the London. Oh yeah, we can go back to the gloomy middleman now since we did the thing in Titania. You have resolved the situation with the Midnight Rose. Soon, Red Honey will return to London. Will that satisfy the middleman's employer? Moving up the ladder, the middleman grunts. And so things return to normal, he says, in the tones of a vicar at a funeral. Cause for giddy celebration. But you notice that he finishes his drink and even orders another. Your performance was as expected. My employer would like to meet with you. The middleman gives you an address. The company offices for the Wit and Vinegar Lumber Company can be found at a separate platform elsewhere in London. You'll need to fly there. Okay. To wander the streets. Oh, wait, why can't I go to the... Oh, I do have a selection of Immaculate Souls, but it's in my bank. A day in London. Smog, speckled with light from the clockwork sun, wreathes the throne of hours. Crowds of skyfarers on shore leave throng St. Dominic's Station and the streets and pubs around. Keen-eyed ministry auditors patrol the thoroughfares, while urchins and spies sneak between smoky back alleys and slums. London thrums with activity like a great engine in perpetual motion. A perpetual motion machine. Hold on. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. Let's go see the Baroness of Hell. The repentant devil does not know her current address, but he is certain it will be someplace formerly grand. What used to be the brass embassy. You try the remains of the palace. You try a few townhouses that have fallen on hard times. Then the repentant devil cackles to himself and says, I know where she will be. Hard to believe I did not think of it first. He leads you unerringly through the streets. It seems he lived here for a time, not long ago. This was once the embassy of the devils in London. It is now a ruin, though still overly hot. You can see only a few limbs of the Baroness at a time. Most of her extends up the grand staircase and out of sight. The downstairs portions are plated, iridescent on black, something like a widow's ball gown if it were made entirely of beetle. She sounds lovely. The Baroness's children, ? Are sightless larvae chewing old paperwork. Observe the meeting. Someone sent an assassin after me. The repentant devil addresses the Baroness's downstairs eyes and her downstairs mouth. The plates of the Baroness's exoskeleton spasm. The rhythm is the rhythm of laughter, but the sound is the rustling of leaves. When she speaks, it is with the same desiccated quality.
If I had the energy to kill you, I would have done it long ago. No, my old friend, your problems come from very much another direction. They visited me, looking for you.
She turns her notice to you.
It must be irritating, serving such a master. He becomes intolerable when he is bored.
It's your locomotive. He's on your crew. Let it go. She might not appreciate the nuances. She studies your silence for several moments. When you don't move or speak, she seems satisfied. Ask about the person who came for him. What was their intent?
I said that there was no point in trying to take him anywhere he doesn't want to go.
The Baroness remarks, extending one limb towards the repentant devil.
But she seemed likely to keep trying, so I killed her and kept her effects.
She produces a bundle of things. Clothes, a mean little dagger, and some paperwork. The bundle has been chewed on by the Baroness's children, but the papers still look legible. With that, you are ready to leave. What will you speak of as you depart the embassy? Dwell on his revolutionary tendencies, once he was an ardent Republican, or dwell on his ambitions. Of course, he could never have been happy to live with the Baroness forever. Revolutionary tendencies. He speaks of his last fight with the Baroness. She did not wish him to leave or to join the Republican faction. The fight was lengthy and violent. He still has scars. Why do you think he has had to grow his sideburns out? The repentant devil has become more angry at the judgments. There is a palpable tension in the air today. Ministry officials walk the streets, their expressions stormy. A newspaper at the station proclaims the date, the anniversary of the blockade of New Winchester. Alright, let's not wander any more streets. Silken Salon. Oh yeah, I can trade gossip for whatevs, but I'm not going to do that. Song of the Sky, that would end the game if I go to do that now. I don't need any crew. The Office of Works is a bustling, bureaucratic enigma. Behind its red-bricked flanks labor numberless clerks and surveyors. What mysteries lurk within its memoranda, its chits and its receipts? What exactly are its eponymous works? No one is sure, but in a drafty loading bay, an unflappable foreman purchases supplies to complete outstanding work orders. Provide the foreman's requirements to earn payment. Alright, I'm going to offer my services. He sniffs and leafs through a dog-eared ledger. Gainful employment. The Office of Works, God bless her, has very particular requirements. Very particular. Let's have a look. The Office of Works needs 2 caddies of dried tea and a vision of the heavens. Well, I think I have some tea in the bank. The foreman sighs wearily. He consults his ledger, flipping each page with an irritated finger and scowling. Okay, so I can switch my work order once every 15 days. Well, I don't think I need to switch my work order. I think I can grab a cup of tea right now, and we can get this shit done. Ah, order 9821-C. Properly urgent, this one. I'm parched. He reads from his ledger. Required 2 caddies of dried tea for the drinking thereof. And none of that mushroom rubbish neither. Nor the factory sweepings. We want something a bit fancy. Spinning a tale. 300 sovereigns. The foreman cracks the lid and inhales a noseful of the scent. It would be too much to suggest that this is the fabled midnight tea that grows beneath a black sun. But perhaps, you intimate, it contains a leaf or two of that priceless plant. The foreman is intrigued and pays you promptly. Okay, so the strength of the sun is going up now. That's good, since I reduced it almost to nothing. I guess it's good. I don't know whether I want that to go up or down, actually, but we'll find out. Oh, I see. This work order is the work order for now, and I can do it as many times as I want. Really? How much are caddies of dried tea worth? Out of curiosity. You can sell them for 90 apiece in port. And he gave me 300 for 2 of them and a vision of the heavens. I don't know how worth it that really is. And I don't know whether I want the sun thing to go up or down. But it's probably related to siding with London to make it go up, so I probably don't want it to go up. I don't think I'm going to do this again right now. Not at the moment. It's not like I desperately need the 300 sovereigns. Alright, let's check out the Steam and Sapphire yards. Ah, this is where we can do the thing for the signalmen. Its engineers will conduct brisk locomotive repairs for visiting captains, but their chief responsibility is the production of small but essential components used by a dozen different engine manufacturers. Alright, so I can fix my train here. Steam and Sapphire engineers are brisk and no nonsense. It's the same prices. The repairs are the same prices as New Winchester. The Steam and Sapphire engineers are brisk and no nonsense. Just give the word, and the payment, and they'll set about your battered engine like bees on lavender. Do bees repair lavender? Alright, well, we'll pay 12 sovereigns. Soon the last bolt is tightened and the last scratch buffed to the last engineer's satisfaction. The gaffer nods proudly. I don't know what a gaffer is. Okay, a lot of other stuff to check out here, which is exciting. Let's check out the fatalistic signalman looking up an old friend. The only address the signalman has for his friend is Shed 4 at the yards. He will only reveal her first name, Charlotte. Unfortunately, Shed 4 is off limits, ringed with a wired fence and under the guard of a pinched watchman and his barely tamed hounds. New street lines gratitude. Oh, otherworldly artifacts. I have plenty of those. We'll trade one for access to Shed 4. The watchman is a hoarder with a morbid curiosity about the indigenous occupants of the high wilderness. Onto the pile. The watchman coos at your gift and adds it to the incomprehensible jumble of objects crowding his shelves. It goes between a roll of crackling parchment. This is what Sardac's place is going to be like before long. Which he claims originated in the library of the scribe spinsters, and a rubbery skull. He waves you through, and the grumbling dogs watch petulantly as you sidle past. Shed 4 is a huge storehouse. Beams of solemn starlight slant from grubby windows in the roof. The hulks of old locomotives rust here, from battered tugs to fat old liners once packed with emigrating Londoners. The signalman heads off between the wrecks. The signalman stops before a stately old wreck with flaking navy blue paint. This is her. None worked harder on the Isambard line than she did. You look at the nameplate. The Charlotte Guest. Oh, he wasn't looking for a person. He's looking for a train. Look how they left her, he says gloomily. That's not right. You tidy up. You put things in order. You turn the lights off and close up before you go. She deserved better than this. I can buy the Charlotte Guest, but I have to be in favor with New Street Line. It's not cheap either. I can arrange... This belongs in a museum! But I need bronze wood for some reason. Oh, to restore her. Well, we'll think about that. I want to see who this New Street line is and how I feel about them before I make this decision. Let's leave Shed 4 for now. You have other business to attend to. Back to London. You leave the rustling corpses behind. Shed 4 was too hushed and still. The bustle of the yards is a welcome relief. Let's check out Macquarie's Tobacco Shop. The sign over the door once read, Macquarie and Son Fine Tobacco. But since then, someone has crossed out the word fine in a fit of honesty. Then, on a separate, more ominous occasion, they have crossed out and son. Wow. The building is embarked on a rapid descent into squalor. The paint peels. The windows are caked with grime. Oh, I hope there's an NPC in here, because I've got my voice ready for this place. Inspect the wares. Macquarie watches suspiciously as you examine his shelves. Cheap tobacco. Bad prices. The selection is unimpressive, as is the quality. Neither Albion nor the Reach has found a genuinely good replacement for tobacco, though increasingly frantic smokers have tried lighting up virtually every example of sky flora that has been discovered. You have to be pretty brave to take a random plant from space that you know nothing about and try to smoke that shit. A few skyfarers mill about, examining the lower-grade flavors and speculating on exactly what Macquarie is cutting them with today. The more expensive brands are untouched in their glass cases. You'd wonder how this place managed to stay open, if it weren't for the fact it is so obviously on the brink of closure, and probably collapse. I guess there's nothing else for us to do here right now. We'll return to the yards. Out of the dry, into the oppressive damp. You make your way through the smog, which glows with the amber light of the distant clockwork sun. Investigate rumors of an underground railway. There's no ground to be under. You've heard of a less-than-legal organization operating out of the Steam and Sapphire yards. They pay for information and may offer work to the bold, the clever, and those willing to displease Her Majesty. I can reach out through my criminal contacts because I have affiliation villainy too. You have friends in low places, perhaps they know something. Or I can investigate the organization myself. You've gathered secrets on your travels. 2 of them offer clues to the Yard Gang's identity. Well, there's no reason to spend savage secrets if I can just use my affiliation to do it. A lead. Your connections are reluctant to talk. I hear the deniables have been sniffing about. Less known, the better. London's deniable constables, the plain-clothed instruments of Her Majesty's displeasure, are a persistent superstition of the underclasses. Eventually, a dubious rag-and-bone man directs you to one of the engine houses. Talk to the bookkeeper. He'll see you right. We've just learned about the New Street line. Oh, look at this guy. He occupies a tiny, smoky office, cobbled together from corrugated iron sheets in the back of one of the engine sheds. It is stacked with nicotine-stained account books and boxes full of oily brackets. The bookkeeper looks up as you enter and gestures to a chair. Trade gratitude for a savage secret. Trade gratitude for an unlicensed chart. Trade gratitude to earn his trust. Trade favor for an invitation to perdurance. Okay. He offers you a cup of tea, savagely stewed and swimming with sugar. A job on the side. He is deaf, but content to communicate through sign language or messages scribbled on a pad of paper.
Obliquely, he explains that he does additional work for an organization unaffiliated with the government, which has an urgent need for up-to-date reports on other parts of Albion. His patrons will pay for such intelligence to be brought to them, rather than the Ministry. What's more, he implies, earning the organization's trust might open the possibility of additional work. Deliver Albion port reports to the stalwart bookkeeper to receive rewards. Okay, so I'm going to have two choices of where I can take port reports again, probably. One will be to take it to the London government, and one will be to take it to this guy, presumably. Interestingly enough, I cannot turn in my port reports that I'm holding on to from the other place. Nobody gives a fuck about... Wow, I have a port report from every single port in the Reach on me right now? Interesting. Well, there's nothing I can do here right now then. Take my leave. He nods to you and returns to his ledgers. You cross the ringing engine house with its scattered workbenches, its reek of oil, and return to the yards. Alright, that's everything at the Steam and Sapphire yards for now. Let's check out the Ministry of Public Decency. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. A whitewashed building near the Throne of Hours, crammed with a top-hatted horde of auditors, inspectors, and correctors. The Ministry curates the notion of Britishness, with all the care of a lepidopterist pinning a butterfly to a board. Interesting. The Ministry of Public Decency. A huge horseshoe-shaped building of white stone, white columns, clocks, and iron gates. Inside, its walls are paneled with dark wood. Crimson carpets, worn by frequent passage, flood the floors. Within its cubbyhole offices, auditors toil to protect the sensibilities of Londoners here in the heathen sky. I can request an appointment. Reduce unwanted attention. Interesting. Get ministry stamp permits, get cryptic benefactors, get invitation to perdurance, get a royal disposition, surrender my contraband, reduce my notoriety. Alright, request an appointment. Is there some way you could be of use to the ministry? Look at this guy. He's like, hey! Come bearing gifts. You cross the foyer and approach the secretary ensconced at a teak desk. She listens to your request with a thoughtful frown. I'd love to arrange an appointment for you with one of our auditors, obviously, but my hands are tied. Bureaucracy, you understand. She rolls her eyes, looks around conspiratorially, then lowers her voice. Best thing for someone like yourself to do is to gather reports on nearby ports. I'm sure the information office would love to hear them. Then I could pop your name in this little book, and up you go. Alright, I get it. I see how it works. Tell me about the Royal Horological Office. Tick. 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 Albion's heartbeat. Clocks of diverse size and shape line the walls of this small, grey office. Each is meticulously tuned by the royal horologists and inspectors as practice for the thankless, complex task of ensuring the consistency of time across her renewed majesty's territories. Oh, I can talk to them about the weft of time that we ran into. Speak to the chief, look at the clock, examine the array, ask about the nature, inquire about implements. So much stuff to do here! Mysteriously, the horologists seem unwilling to talk to you. On the outside, they adopt blank faces when you describe your experience and say things like, "Sounds very unlikely. Are you sure you haven't got a touch of the old starlight? Makes one believe all kinds of things, I heard." You sure they know more than they're saying? Perhaps if you were a member of the office, they'd trust you enough to talk. Let's speak to the chief horologist. He sits hunched in a thick, gray blanket, his crow-like stare fixed on a disassembled clock. Its gears are almost too small for the eye to see. One empire, one time, one date. Times change, I have heard. Well, not if I have any say in it. He reaches for a pair of tweezers, the pincers barely thicker than a human hair. The time in London must be the time in Brabazon, in Whirlbury, in New Winchester, in Lustrum. To the second. It is the privilege and duty of this office to ensure that continuity. He sniffs. A task that was considerably easier before we began spending hours like shillings and sixpences. Now it might be yesterday in one place, and next week in another. It is most untidy. Let's look at the clock of Albion. From this side, it is a polished wonder of valves, pendulums, and cogs working in perfect harmony. A breathtaking work of engineering. Only the finest engineers were permitted to work on it. Every component is encased in polished glass. The hands, sharp enough to slice paper, slide between the exquisitely carved numerals with buttered smoothness. Buttered. Only the second hand is permitted to jump from moment to moment, and it does so with the precision of a military march. "It's Joffa Terrace, of course," grumbles a bleary-eyed apprentice. "Albion time's really based on the old tick-tock man's pocket watch. He keeps us straight. He set the time on his 90th birthday, when he had one too many, and the whole of Albion lost 2 hours. Let's examine the array of clocks. They all have the names of ports within Albion and the Reach. Lustrum, Brabazon, Port Prosper. The current time is right now. Thanks, clock. That's the kind of time guidance that gets you a +1. Despite the vast distances involved and the complicating effects of local hour usage, all the clocks show the same time. Each of London's territories is expected to run on Albion's standard time. But London is a long way from them. Despite being a commandment from the Empress's own lips, it is a law more often breached than observed. Let's ask about the nature of hours. Their use remains poorly understood. Modest adjustments. The chief horologist doesn't bother to hide the weariness in his voice. No, despite the imaginative claims of certain penny dreadfuls, hours can't take you back to yesterday, nor leapfrog tomorrow. Part with the use of hour looms, a week's journey can be made to take a day, or a prisoner can endure the 10 years of his sentence while only 1 year passes outside his cell. A work world can perform a month's labor in a week. A lifespan can be stretched. The Empire, my lady, runs on hours. Hours sound important. Let's inquire about employment. Not just anyone can become a royal horologist. A job for serious people. The chief horologist looks surprised at your inquiry. Horologists tend to be cut from a specific cloth, a rather grayer fabric than that worn by a skyfarer. However, you have the right to take the examination if you wish. He blows the dust off of textbooks and bids you sit down. No calculation devices or writing implements are permitted. The chief horologist peers over the book. If the current time in Perdurance is exactly 17:15 of the clock, and the time in Albion is 1834, what, pray tell, is the current time in Lustrum? Hurry up. It's 1834. I can offer a donation. This will save them time. Ahem. It's 1834. Your answer is written down. That is your answer? Very well, we shall continue. And now a tricky one, perhaps. The chief horologist coughs. The train from the Brabazon work world arrives at 11:30 in London. The current time shown on the master Brabazon clock is, he winces, 14:30. If the train took exactly 1 hour to make the journey, it does not, of course, I merely offer this as a hypothetical for the sake of testing, what was the accurate time of its original departure from the work world? 10:30. Interesting, very interesting. He pauses for a moment before writing your answer down. You wait patiently for several minutes, but the third question doesn't seem to be coming. The chief horologist's eyes have drifted closed. Sleepy horologist. A thin string of drool dribbles from his otherwise dry lips as he snores. Let's nudge him gently. The fellow must be pushing 100. He wakes with a start. Oh, excuse me. He glances at your answers. Well, you seem to have the idea. No point going through the other 248 questions. Congratulations, you're now officially a Royal Horologist, apprentice first class. Third class, I mean. He pauses. Speaking of which, I have an assignment for you. Temporal inconsistency. A suitable test of your practical skills. Take this pocket watch. It is both your badge of office and your compass, pointing to the correct time. Wear it proudly. Keep it well wound. Do not get it wet. The smaller gears are quick to rust. I have an assignment in the Eagle's Empyrean. Can I talk to him about the weft of time now? As soon as you mention the weft, the chief horologist springs up and closes the door to his office. There, now we can talk more openly. New work. These outbreaks of unruly time are politically sensitive. I assume preventing or repairing them is beneath Her Majesty's dignity. She is, of course, terribly busy. Our office has been instructed to make such repairs as we can. We have invented the raveling jacks, simplified hour looms that can reweave time's torn fabric. If you would assist, we'll pay for every weft repaired. Unfortunately, the jacks only work from inside a weft. A delicate operation, and I'm afraid the machines are fragile. My superiors insist we demand a small deposit before you requisition one. 100? Oh, I laugh. Oh, and it takes up a slot in my hold. I can live with those things. I can live with those things. A raveling jack. It is, for all intents and purposes, an hour loom, small enough to fit on a locomotive, which can be used to repair wefts of unraveling time. The office will release one to you in return for a modest deposit. A new friend. The jack is a cumbersome machine with an improbable number of arms and wheels. It comes with an almost indecipherable instruction manual and a stern lecture from the officer in charge of the supply closets. When you enter a weft, you may try to repair it. There is a chance the jack will break. Return with evidence of repaired wefts to receive payment. You may return an undamaged jack to reclaim some of the deposit. I'm not really worried about the 100 sovereign deposit, honestly. Alright, well... I think that's all we can do in St. Dominic's for now. So... Wit and Vinegar Lumber Company. I think I have a thing to do down there. Where was that weft of time that I found? It was right over here, right? Now, I don't know if I can go back to that weft and repair it, or if that weft was a one-time thing and I can't use it again because I already weft it behind. I mean, maybe the idea is out in Weft Field, but I thought maybe I could bring that situation to a swift conclusion. Right. Okay. Well, if we're going to be gallivanting about... I have fuel in my storage for some reason. If we're going to be gallivanting about, I'm going to require some supplies. I have a lot of hold space, so I'm not tripping. Can't wait to get 50 iron, though. 50 iron will be great, because then I can get 2 ratty baggage... two fitted cupboards. And get 14 more hold and take up these useless slots. And then I could get the ratty baggage handlers right now and go from 8 to 11. Three points of hold for that much money seems like a big expenditure right now. On the other hand, you can't really put a price tag on hold space. I mean, you can. The price tag you can put on it is 1880. I'm gonna hold on to the green one just in case I want to use it later. I still got 20 open spots. I'm pretty happy with that. So, we need to find a whole bunch of places that are a whole bunch of places far away from here. But I'm kind of going to explore out from London in a bit of a spiral so I can explore the whole center area here. I'll try to find that weft. I'll go down here to this place. I'll look for any other special ports, you know, in this immediate area. But for today, I'm unusually tired because actually I've been up since yesterday with only a short nap. So I think I'm going to stop for now. It's good that it's working again. The journal's working again and everything. I've got work orders. Horological office assignment, etc. Good stuff. So, for now, I think I'll return to title screen. And I'm going to end this episode for YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, this episode is now over. So thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Sunless Skies.